Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 31 of Walking with Jay. That means there have been at least 31 days in the last little while that I've gone walking, which is a good habit, I think, for anyone to adopt if you can. One of the reasons I like to walk is because it helps me be in a positive frame of mind. It helps me to awkward pause, edit that, just kidding. Still not in the editing phase. One of the reasons why I like to walk is because it helps me to stay in a positive frame of mind. It's hard for me to be negative when I'm out here walking. I think it stirs up some really neat brain chemicals, and I don't know exactly what those brain chemicals are, but I think it stirs up some pretty neat ones, and it keeps me happy. So as part of my recovery toolbox, I like to walk. And so I'm really stoked about continuing this tradition or this habit of filming my walks, whether I have a guest walking with me or whether I walk by myself. Excited about putting it down on the vidya so that I can store it on YouTube and go back and use it kind of as a journal so that I can keep tabs of where I have been mentally, physically, spiritually in the last year or so. And recently I have been going through some of the written journals that I have lying around the house, and they're all over the place. And so I've been taking the time to type them up and put them in chronological order on the computer so that I can have it all in one location. And that's been kind of eye-opening. Recently, I've been typing up my journals from about a year ago, where I was preparing to give a keynote speech at a recovery conference for Southwest Behavioral Health Center up in Cedar City, Utah last year. It's my Cedar City shirt here. Anyway, yeah, it was really interesting because I was able to look back on how I prepared for that speech and the things that I was thinking about at the time. And I actually wrote a poem off of some of the free writing that I was doing at that time. And it's really neat because it kind of, the poem is a lot more succinct. So it's neat to go back to the rough draft of it and see all of the other references that I had made that could have been in the poem but didn't make the cut. So it's kind of giving myself a behind the scenes tour of the making of my poem called I Am Not Bipolar, which last year I gave that speech. And when I gave the speech, someone from the state was actually down and had they watched me give that speech, and then they asked me to give another speech up in, wasn't Park City, where was it at? Anyway, somewhere up north. I don't even remember the name of it. Really neat place. Why can't I remember the name of it? Anyway, I can't. But so they paid for a night stay in a nice hotel up in I think it was in Snowbird. That's where it is, Snowbird, Utah. It's a ski resort up there. So that was really fun. So I gave my speech there again, and it was kind of nice. I haven't done much public speaking since then. So I'm looking at getting back into doing public speaking and sharing my thoughts on recovery, sharing my thoughts on wellness, whole health, all those type of different things. And I finally got to a place where I feel like I've got enough material that and you know, it's also about having traction with my recovery. Like, that was a year ago, and I'm much farther along, I'm much further along in my recovery today than I was back then. mental health wise. And even, well, interestingly enough, it was last year at that time that I was trying to do the Atkins diet again, and I was actually had lost a lot of weight and got down to 316. I'm up in the 330s now, but I'm trying to re-lose that weight. And yeah, and so it's like these circles of patterns of life that I go through. This time I'm hoping to sustain my progress rather than fall backwards and give up like I have in the past. So, but that's what recovery is. Recovery is non-linear. I think that's a principle, that you don't go just from point A to point Z with recovery. It's fits and starts. It's a jagged line, sometimes forward, sometimes backwards. It isn't ever just one straight line. If it is, I think that's kind of an anomaly. But yeah, it's not a straight line. And so me starting that last year, starting to do public speaking last year, and not doing it for a whole year since then, well, it is just what it is. But now I'm getting clearer in my mind what it is that I want to accomplish, setting some more specific goals. And I'll just remind you of the goal because I want to remind myself of the goal. The number one goal that I'm working on right now is maintaining my blood sugar. I was really stoked. I got down to 94. Yes, 94. I believe it was 94 or 95 this morning. And so my goal is to be under 100 on my fasting blood sugar in the morning. And not only to just keep it under 100, but to do it for 90 straight days. I don't mean straight days, because I will allow myself five outlier readings where it's over 100 and still consider it to have reached my goal. Consider myself to have reached my goal. If I keep it under 100 for 90 days with 5 outliers, up to 5 outliers. I need to put that qualifier in there because I don't have to get the outliers. I just allow myself that wiggle room to allow myself to still be successful even if I wasn't perfect, which is hard for me because I'm kind of a perfectionist. Hence the reason why I often abandon my goals. So this goal seems reasonable. Smart. Is it smart? Is it specific? Yes. Is it measurable? Is it specific? Yes. I'm specifically measuring my blood sugar, my fasting blood sugar in the mornings. Is it measurable? Yes, I have a little glucometer where I can check it every morning and see how I'm doing. I can measure it on a calendar. I can put it into Excel and chart my progress on it. So is it measurable? Yes. Smart. Specific, measurable. The A, I think, is attainable or achievable. I think it's attainable. I really do. If I stick with my diet for 90 days, stick with the low carbohydrates, a lot of vegetables and protein, some meat, I think I should be fine. I think I should be able to keep it down. I mean, I've got to where I am, so there's no reason for me to doubt that it's achievable and attainable. Now, the 90 days thing, that might be a challenge because I haven't done that yet before. So some of those things, you don't know if you're able, but you set the goal because you think it's going to stretch you, and it might be attainable. You don't know for sure that it is or it isn't, but you try it anyway, and that's what that is. So specific, measurable, attainable. R can have different meanings. Some people say realistic, which means they would say A would be something else, but I like to say R is relevant. And relevant just means, how does it tie into your overall picture of life. What do you want your life to look like? And so for me, this is a totally relevant goal because I want to be firmly grounded in not only my mental health recovery, but also my physical health recovery, my emotional health recovery, my relationship recovery, whatever kind of recovery you can think of. I want to be the poster child of recovery for myself. Just because I want to prove to myself that it's possible to recover. Financial recovery, economic upturn, whatever. So, yeah, so is it relevant to my life to maintain a low blood sugar? Yes, I think it totally is, because with a low blood sugar, I'll be able to prevent the the effects of diabetes and heart disease and those type of things. And so, because I guess it hardens your arteries and stuff like that, having high blood sugar. I don't need that. I don't want to die of a heart attack. I don't want to lose my ability to walk because I've got a show. I'm doing Walking with Jay. I need to be able to walk. So yeah, so it's totally relevant to me. Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time sensitive. Time sensitive means you've got a deadline for what you're working on. And for this goal, is it time sensitive? Absolutely. I had stated that I want to accomplish this before October 1st. I think I'm on track to accomplish that now that I'm already underway. I think I have 90 days before October 1st. I'm pretty sure there's a lot more than that, maybe 20 or something more days than that. Anyway, so I've given myself a little bit of wiggle room in case I really screw up and have to start over again. But yeah, it is time sensitive, so I want to get it done. I'm stoked about it. I'm sharing my readings in the mornings with on social media. I'm sharing it on Facebook. I'm sharing it on Instagram. I'm sharing it on Twitter because I want to have that accountability. I want to have, even if nobody cares about it, to me, someone might care about it. And if someone cares about it, then I'll feel like I'm disappointing them if I don't keep up the good work, And so that's just a little extra pressure that I put on myself to hit my goal. And some people might think that's weird or childish or whatever, but hey, I think you got to do whatever it takes to be successful. As long as you're not hurting yourself or you're not hurting other people, I think you got to do what it takes to reach the goals that you want. And if it means working really, really hard, then that's what it means. Some people might criticize me for going just getting rid of all carbohydrates, and I don't know. I don't see that it's going to hurt me. Yet I don't see it, but maybe it will. I don't know. I'll continue to research it. But there are a lot of people in the world that don't eat breads and grains and stuff like that, and they're doing just fine. So I don't know. Where was that? So I got a SMART goal, and that's what I'm working on. Whew. I like talking about my goals rather than talking about my problems. Problems are going to come, but what problems do is, if you're not careful, your problems will define not your strengths, but they will define what your weaknesses are. And I think that's important too, to know what your weaknesses are. But what you really need, the paradigm I want to look at problems at, is like, what strengths do I already have to address the problem? If I don't have the strengths, is there someone else that I can collaborate with to solve the problem? What else? Yeah, you just, in other words, I like to look at problem solving as a game, really, and a game where you take a look at your strengths. You have to shore up your weaknesses, for sure. But isn't that what I'm doing? making that a number one priority is to lower my blood sugars. Yeah, I'm shoring up a weakness that I have, but what strengths am I using to what strengths am I leveraging in order to reach that goal? So stubbornness. I do have I'm a very stubborn person. When I set my mind to something, I can be really, really stubborn. I have the strength of peer support. Like I have an awesome network of friends and family members who support me in my endeavors. My wife is top of the list. It's funny, I was really honored because Stacy went to bed the other night and she was listening to a Walking with Jay episode, and it was on YouTube, and it just kept going on to the next one and the next one and the next one, and she said she was listening to me all night long. And you know what, that really made me feel good to have her say that, you know, that she's invested that much in me that she would want to sit and listen to me all night long. I think she went to sleep pretty quickly because I am kind of a boring person. So, and I can be a little bit monotone, all right? I joke, I tease. Stacy, relax. I love ya. I'll see you when I get home. Yeah, she's probably at home right now working with the ducks and the chickens and the, you know, she's got her own little side hustle going on. This is my side hustle. This is the work that I do after work, and that's the work she does after work. Of course, she's a teacher right now, so she doesn't really have to teach this summer, which is really a neat thing. And I'm so stoked to have her at home this summer. And so, yeah, what else? So that's another strength that I leverage is my support network. A lot of friends and family members on Facebook. I have my good friend Lee Brooks Ballou, who goes walking with me once a week, and we talk about all kinds of funny things, and he just gets me laughing like probably nobody else in the world can. And so yeah, it's hard to feel depressed when you're laughing your head off, you know. So Lee is totally one of my most valued members of my support network, and it's so good to have him in St. George, and I wish him all the luck and success that he deserves. What else? What other strengths am I leveraging to solve this problem of well, I'm taking the love for walking. I've always loved walking, and so I'm using this as a tool, not only to share my story with people, but also as a tool to help regulate my blood sugars, because walking and lifting weights and all those different exercises helps you to process the sugars in your bloodstream better, from what I've learned. What else? Yeah, so those are the strengths. Some of the weaknesses and some of the barriers that I foresee is that I like to be in denial when I'm not doing the right things. I really enjoy going into stealth mode and backing away from people, backing away from my glucometer and stuff like that, so I don't get the data, which is that rich feedback that I need in order to stay on track. So yeah, that's one of those deals. Oh wow, this is a good night. It's a really great night. Sitting here walking. So I do have some things that I need to overcome, but I really do plan on using my strength, which I do have a lot of knowledge about goal setting and motivation and those type of things after years of reading self-help books and years of listening to psychiatrists and years of listening to preachers and teachers and motivational speakers. And you know, I do have a lot of knowledge that I can that I have to sift through at times because some of it contradicts, but I certainly am excited that I have all of that knowledge, that I'm able to focus on this problem of having high blood sugar. So I want to bring that down. I want to break it down. I'm getting a lot of feedback from people about what I'm doing with the blood sugar, and that's really encouraging. That's really encouraging. It's all part of holistic wellness, though. It's just not healthy eating. It's not just exercise. It's not just behavior management and behavior change. It's a holistic problem. I mean, yeah, because it's a social problem. What I mean by social problem is that, you know, the American diet is a social problem. It is individual choice, but the way that the messages that we receive on what is healthy to eat and all kinds of things, and good to eat and tasty to eat, comes from the media, and yeah, that's a whole part of the problem. I don't know, I'm kind of rambling on a tangent there, because the bottom line is, what goes into my mouth, nobody forces me to eat anything. You know, there might be some social pressures to eat certain things at holiday parties, or, you know, even I've got a training in Salt Lake coming up. You know, they'll be serving a lunch there. Is it something that's going to jack up my blood sugars? Well, if it is, I'm just going to have to find something on the plate that won't, and eat that and leave the rest behind. Will that take willpower? Yeah, it's going to take a lot of willpower, because it's kind of embarrassing, honestly, when you're eating in front of people and you can't eat what everyone else is eating. And it's not that you can't eat it, but you're choosing not to eat it. But anyway, it really makes you feel like the spotlight's on you. And I hate the spotlight I hate it. I hate having the spotlight on me. I hate it. No, just kidding. No, but in social situations, it does get awkward, and then people start asking questions, and then, you know, you have to field those responses and stuff like that. And sometimes I'm good with it. Other times I'm too socially awkward to do it. So there you have that. Anyways, so yeah, what were we talking about? I don't know. Just rambling with Jay is what it's talking about here tonight. I'm stoked that I'm out here walking. When I first started this 31 episodes ago, I was doing 10 minutes. Very out of breath. I feel like I'm able to breathe a little better now, and I'm excited about that. I really am excited about it. I'm excited about improving my health. I'm excited about improving my relationships. I'm excited about improving my reach and my serve, and all of those wonderful things. Anyway, you know what, guys? I've probably talked enough tonight for 2 episodes. So I'm going to just bid you adieu. Remember that I love you, and I want to say, Mom, I love you a bunch, and this episode is dedicated to you. You're a superstar in my book, and that will never, ever change. I love you, and I look forward to talking to you when I get home. We'll see ya. Bye.